This video is going to describe the difference between a relative cell reference and an absolute cell reference using Excel. You have to be aware of these different cell references when you create formulas and then you want to copy the formula. A relative cell reference will change when you copy it. An absolute cell reference will not. There are also two different types of mixed cell references, and I'll explain that later. Let's first start with using a relative cell reference. And I would say 90% of the time, when you create a formula, you don't need to worry about the references. They'll be relative. So I'm going to start in cell E5, and I want to add up my first quarter's electric bills. I come up to auto sum to get my sum function. It guesses at the range for it to add cells B5, C5, and D5. That is the correct range. I'm going to accept it. It provides me the answer that adds those three values up. Now what I want to do is take this function and copy it down the column. So you can get your little fill handle, which is the small black cross, next to your cell, and copy it down 2 cells. Now if I take a look at this, you'll see that the cell reference in cell E5 refers to adding up B5, C5, and D5. When I copied it down a row, my cell references changed to B6, C6, and D6. When I copied it down to the second row, those cell references automatically changed to B7, C7, and D7. That's because when we created this cell in E5, we really wanted it, we're telling Excel to go 3 cells to the left, 2 cells to the left, and 1 cell to the left, and add up those numbers. So when you copy it down, it picks up that same relative referencing. It goes 3 cells to the left, 2 cells to the left, 1 cell to the left, and adds those numbers. Now, instead, let me also do the total down here for the monthly total. And once again, I will use my fill handle to copy that across. And again, in cell B8, my monthly total for January, we added up B5, B6, and B7. When we copied that formula to the right, the cell references changed to C5, C6, and C7. Copied it one more time, it automatically changed. So that's a relative cell reference. Now here's an example of when you want to use an absolute cell reference. In cell F5, I want to calculate what percentage of my electric bill for the first quarter is of all my monthly utility expenses. So I'm going to start with an equal sign, and I want to divide the value in E5 by my total in E8. I'm going to accept that. It tells me it's 0.24. I'm going to format it to a percent sign, and that tells me 24% of my utility bills was for electric. Now, I know that I can use my fill handle to copy that down, but when I copy it down, notice I get a division by error message. So let's take a look at exactly why that happened. If I come back to F5, you can see that what we're really telling Excel to do is go 1 cell to the left, which is E5, and pick that number up, and divide it by E8, which is 1 cell to the left and 1, 2, 3 cells down. So when I copied that down, sure enough, it picked up my E6, which is 1 cell to the left. But it also picked up E9, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 cells below it. And there is nothing in E9. So we have to come back to the formula in F5 and ask ourselves, is there a cell reference in this that we do not want to change when we copy it? And it's E8. So what you want to do is you want to make that cell reference absolute. There are several ways to do that. You can type in the $ in front of the E and $ in front of the 8. Or if you know your function keys, you can press function key F4 and it will automatically place the $ in front of the E and $ in front of the 8. Now when I hit OK, that number doesn't change in F8 because we really didn't change that formula. But when we copy that formula down, you can see that now I'm taking, in cell F5, I'm taking E5 divided by E8. When I go down to F6, I'm taking E6 divided by E8. And when I come down to E7, I'm taking E7 divided by E8. The E8 remained the same. We wanted to remain the same no matter where we copied it. So we made it absolute. Now, there are also two other types of mixed cell references. One is you put a $ in front of the column and you leave the row relative. Or you can have a relative column and an absolute row. So for example, if you have a $ A1, that's a mixed cell reference where when you copy that, you'll never change column A, but the row will change when it's copied. And the other mixed cell reference is an example is A $1. This is where the column will change, but the row will never change. Now realize you only have to be aware of relative and absolute cell references when you create a formula and when you copy it. If you copy the formula and you're not getting the correct answer, chances are you need to make a change to one of those cell references and make it absolute. I hope this helps explain absolute versus relative cell referencing.